Hey guys, it's JJ. Welcome back to the Eagles franchise. Today we're gonna go through stats, awards, and the status of the team at the end of the first season. Jalen Hurts, 4,400 yards, 54% completion percentage, 38 touchdowns, 11 picks. It's a fine season. I think I will give him another shot. He also added 570 on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Gainwell, 1,300 yards as a rookie, and he didn't even play in the last game. And yeah, Boston Scott had a few carries. Miles Sanders had the last game, but only 7 carries. Devontae Smith had a monstrous season. He earned the triple crown. He has most yards by far, by about 250 yards. He had the most receptions, not by that much. And he also had the most touchdowns, tied with Brandon Ayuk. So he had a monstrous season, and I expect his development trait to go up. Arcega-Whiteside had also a great season, 1,000-yard campaign next to the best receiver in this league, also 11 touchdowns. Dallas Goedert had a fine season, 600 yards and 7 scores. Jalen Reagor had a fine season, did not involve him as much. Kenneth Gainwell had also a few catches here and there, 10 yards per game, per catch. And Quez Watkins had 5 catches. Deion Kane had 4 catches, nothing special down here at the bottom. Miles Sanders also showed his upside as a receiver in that last game. And then Boston Scott didn't have the greatest of receiving upside. And then Jordan Mailata allowed 13 sacks, and that is unacceptable. Jason Kelsey also allowed 10 sacks. That is too much as well. Lane Johnson 5, and Andre Dillard allowed 4 as well. So the tackle spots are really a weakness. For the defense, Reuben Foster had the most tackles with 145. Fletcher Cox had 33 TFLs. Barnett Hargrave also had great run defense there, 15 and 14 TFLs respectively. And then Fletcher Cox with 23 sacks actually broke the single season sack record. He had a game more than Strahan, who held the record previously, but Fletcher Cox now owns the record. Javon Hargrave, 11 sacks as a defensive tackle. Great stuff. Derek Barnett, 10 sacks. Pretty good stuff for his ratings there. And Josh Sweat also has 9 sacks. Really great season from our defensive line overall. Even Kalen Saunders, who I picked up in preseason, had 3 sacks. Ryan Kerrigan had 3 sacks. Both of them didn't play much. And then 4 interceptions, and that is the weakest part of the team. 2 interceptions, like in total, just for Rodney McLeod. He had 2 interceptions, and he didn't even play that well. Those were 2 interceptions that just fell right into his lap. One of them he had to catch pretty athletically, but it wasn't like he had great coverage. It was just the quarterback throw it, and he got hit during the throwing motion, and the ball just floated through the air. And then forced fumbles. We had a bunch of forced fumbles, and Reuben Foster was actually a part of that. He did not have the greatest of seasons, but 2 forced fumbles by him. Also another, like a bunch of hits. Every game he had a few hit sticks. And then, yeah, just a few single forced fumbles down the list. Not showing the recoveries because that's more luck-based than anything. And with that, we'll move on to the team stats, where the Cowboys had the best offense in the league ahead of the Chiefs. And those 2 teams are the 1 seeds, by the way. And the Eagles had an average to below average offense. Nothing special, but it was fine. You can count on it getting better over the next couple seasons. And then for passing yardage, the Eagles, yeah, we weren't all that great. Below average, probably top 10 reversed. I don't know how to say it. And yeah, we need to work on that. Jalen Hurts had the most sacks took the most sacks in the entire league. And then for rushing offense, we had actually a top 10 rushing offense. Points per game, once again, pretty average, 23.6. That's nothing special, more below average actually. And for first downs, which is the last category on this page, once again, we were pretty average as well. So the offense in total was pretty average, but the offensive line was not, and they allowed a bunch of sacks. And that was the main problem. We lost so many games. So many drives were destroyed by Jalen Hurts taking a sack way too early, by offensive linemen missing their assignments completely. For defense, we had actually an average defense as well. We had a great pass rush, but we did not have a great secondary, and our linebacker core is probably the weakest in the league. For rushing yards allowed, we actually allowed quite a bit. That is probably worst 10 in the league, I'd guess. For points allowed, and this is defensively, this is the worst. We have the most points allowed out of any NFL team. Now, you gotta admit there were some pretty bad blowouts and we were competitive in most games, but how can you be worst in points allowed and then best in QB sacks? That does not fit together. We gave up so many third and forevers. It was really sad to see. With 61 sacks, there were also quite a few forced fumbles, and we recovered 7 of them, which gets us top 3 in the league, but we also were the worst team in interceptions. So defensively, we had our issues. Pass rush, I'm not worrying about that, but other than that, our linebacker situation is not great at all. For third down percentage, we are actually kind of below average in the league. Kind of average. It's just an average team, but in the critical moments, we had probably a 3rd and 12 and 3rd and 15 compared to some of these better teams on third down percentages. And so we didn't convert a whole lot of third downs, and that's why we are below average. That's my analysis of that. Red zone percentage, same deal once again. We're below average once again. Too many red zone sacks allowed once again, and Jalen Hurts, I'm pretty sure it was 50 plus sacks that he had to endure. And for defense, our defense was it was actually above average. I'm quite happy with that red zone points percentage, but we can get better. This coverage unit needs to be upgraded a lot. And then last thing for team stats, turnover differential, where the Giants were best and we were last. We allowed so many fumbles. Jalen Hurts alone produced 10 fumbles and 11 interceptions. He accounts for more than 2/3 of our turnovers. And well, that's not great. But I sense I may have had the fumble sliders a little too high, may go down on that. But yeah, turnover differential, not great. Also, we only had 2 picks, which makes this even worse. And we're gonna move on to the Pro Bowl now, as the Cowboys, to the standings, I'm so sorry. As the Cowboys and the Chiefs are the 1 seeds. We are last in the entire NFL, which means we are going to have the number 1 overall pick, and the Dolphins are second to last, and we have their first round pick. So we are going to have the top 2 picks in the draft, and then also we have the Colts first round selection, which is probably going to be 17th according to this chart. And we're going to move on now to the playoffs, where in the AFC, the Patriots just narrowly beat out the Bengals. The Browns beat the Raiders. The Titans beat the Jaguars. The Jaguars somehow made it as the division leader to the playoffs, but they were one and done. And then the Browns moved on against the Patriots, and the Chiefs beat out the Titans, which meant there was a game between the Browns and the Chiefs, and the Browns somehow won that. In the NFC South leader lost to the Bears The NFC West leader lost to their division rivals, the Rams. The NFC North leader, the Packers, lost by a mile to the Buccaneers, who then moved on against the Rams. And then the NFC East divisional leader also lost their game. 4 divisional leaders, and 4 of them were one and done. And in the championship game, the Buccaneers and Tom Brady win against the Bears and are going to move on and play the Browns in the Super Bowl. Now we're going to move on to the Pro Bowl, and Dak Prescott was the number 1 player there at quarterback. Cam Newton also made it, surprisingly. Kyler Murray made it, and yeah, sadly no Jalen Hurts. He had some stats for that, but he also had quite a bit of turnovers. For running backs, also Kenneth Gainwell didn't make it. We did not have a fullback at all. Devontae Smith, wide receiver 1. No surprise here. He had the triple crown in the NFL, and we also had Arcega-Whiteside as the wide receiver 5, so he makes it as well, gets a little bit of XP. And then we did not have the tight ends, we didn't have tackles or guards, but we had center 2 in the NFC, Jason Kelce. He makes it and gets a little bit of XP. And then for the defense, Fletcher Cox, of course, breaking the sack record. He is defensive tackle 1, and I kind of missed it here when I recorded that. And of course, no linebackers. Our linebacker situation was pretty bad. But Micah Parsons, AJ Terrell make it, and Darnay Holmes, who had a monstrous game against us in the last episode. And then we also have kicker Jake Elliott makes it. And yeah, returners are not ours. But of course, if you enjoyed the video, I would appreciate it if you like it, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications so that you get updated whenever I upload. We're gonna move on to the awards now, and Lamar Jackson is the MVP. Kyler Murray was leading for a long time. Jalen Hurts also makes it to the list, and Fletcher Cox at 9, the defensive tackle. He is on the list as well. Lamar Jackson also is the Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC, and the Defensive Award also goes to the Ravens. And Trevor Lawrence, Christian Barmore are going to be your Rookies of the Year in the AFC. And then just scrolling through a bunch of awards handed out to people we don't really care about, because we're in the NFC, where Kyler Murray is going to be our Offensive Player of the Year. And Jalen Hurts comes in 4th. He actually had a shot. He for some time was at the 2 spot on that list. And for Defensive Player of the Year, we win that. Fletcher Cox with a 23 sack season comes in 1st, so he makes this list. And Devontae Smith actually is Rookie of the Year, ahead of Justin Fields and Kenneth Gainwell, who comes in 3rd. Had a pretty good season. And Chuba Hubbard also made it, and Elijah Mitchell comes in 5th. Micah Parsons is going to be the Defensive Rookie of the Year. No Eagles on that list, but Jamin Davis makes it for Washington. And then for QB, Jalen Hurts comes in 3rd behind Prescott and Murray. For running backs, pretty sad that Gainwell didn't make it, but Devontae Smith is going to be 1st for Best Receiver, and that is not surprising at all. But also, Arcega-Whiteside makes the list. He is 5th on that list. We did not have any offensive linemen on that list. Fletcher Cox is, of course, since he is Defensive Player of the Year and also had an MVP vote, is best defensive line, but also Javon Hargrave made it on this list. No linebackers, of course, no surprise, although we just want to scroll through the list. And then no DBs either, because we had 2 picks the entire season. And then Jake Elliott pretty far down the list at 8 for the NFC Best Kicker Award. Devontae Smith, Rookie of the Year and Best Receiver. He's getting upgraded, +2 release, some route runnings there, like the upgrade here. Let's get another one at physical. I want to get that release up, and he gets +1 acceleration, also +1 release and short route running. Like it a lot. And let's get another one. shall we? Yeah, +1 release right there, and all the catching ratings as well. He's looking so good. And then also he was upgraded to X Factor, and deservedly so. He is an absolute monster, and his release looks really solid now at 84 plus a morale boost. So he looks pretty great. Now we're gonna look at the status of the team. Jalen Hurts gets star dev. He had a good season. He had some inconsistencies, but overall it was a fine season, and I think I'm gonna give him another shot next year. His ratings still need some work, but he has star dev now, which should make it easier to upgrade him in the next season. Yeah, really happy about his performance overall. And yeah, we still have Gardner Minshew and Jamie Newman as the backups. They'll probably return next year. Miles Sanders and Kenneth Gainwell are going to be our number 1 and 2 punch. And yeah, JJ Arcega-Whiteside also gets a dev upgrade. He is now star dev, having 11 touchdowns and 1,000 yards on the season. That should make it easier for us to upgrade him, but he's probably never going to be the star he was in my Lions franchise. Still, his ratings are getting pretty solid. His release, not that great, but his catching ratings, he's a jump ball guy. And then we still have Jalen Reagor, of course, who did not have like a huge volume, but with the catches, with the chances he had, he made some stuff happen. Dallas Goedert is our tight end. Still happy with him. He keeps his star dev. Thaddeus Moss and Caleb Wilson are going to be the backup. Probably going to be returning next year as well. And now our offensive line. Lane Johnson is 32. And I just wanted to check because I wasn't sure if he had superstar dev before, but he did. And yeah, he's 32. Then we have at the right guard spot, we have Brooks. We can see him there, but he's also 30 plus. Jason Kelsey is 30 plus. We get some people to replace along the offensive line. And then Landon Dickerson, star dev for the left guard. He was a rookie last year. And Jordan Mailata, who had a pretty awful season, but maybe we can continue to upgrade him. And then we still have Andre Dillard as his backup. For the defense, no dev changes. We have Josh Sweat, who had a fine season. He was hurt for a few, injured for a few games. I think it was 4 games, and he had still 9 sacks. Javon Hargrave had 11 sacks, also a 4-game injury this season. Fletcher Cox broke the sack record, and yeah, he's an absolute monster. And then Derek Barnett, whose contract I extended after he had a 4-sack performance. 10 sacks overall this season. Pretty happy about that. And we still have Ryan Kerrigan. Not sure if I'm going to bring him back. Linebacker situation doesn't look good. Reuben Foster had a few nice plays, but like overall he was just the guy who was cleaning up after everybody. And then Davion Taylor and Javon White are 2 like athletic linebacker prospects that are probably never gonna get anywhere. For safeties, we have Anthony Harris. His contract is running out as well, and I'm not sure if I want to extend him. Behind him is Kayvon Wallace, a young, athletic, strong safety. And then we have Rodney McLeod. He's pretty old as well. His contract's running out. Darius Slay is really old, already in his 30s, but he has still contract. And our slot corner, Avonte Maddox, I just extended his contract. He's going to stay in Philly for a couple more years. And then on the other side, the second cornerback is Steven Nelson. I was not impressed with his performances, but he still keeps his star dev. And that is going to do it. This is the status of the team, and we have a lot of contracts that are coming up in the offseason. Probably not gonna extend any other contracts beyond the ones that I already did during the season. And we'll see how free agency and the draft looks. That's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe for more Eagles franchise. See ya next episode. Until then, spread some love.